I was surprised going into this film that the forest is actually a real place. I was unaware of the suicide forest and kind of how it operated within that culture. How familiar were you going into the film with that place, kind of what it meant, I guess, to the community, and how prevalent it was, I guess, as far as suicide in that area as being a place that people go to kind of end their lives?
I was like you, Billy. I didn't know anything about the Aokigahara Forest at all. I'd never heard of it. And when I was reading the script, the first time it says Sarah, Google Images, Suicide Forest, that's exactly what I did in that moment as I was reading the script. And I was fascinated and highly surprised that I knew nothing about it. I didn't research the culture surrounding it inversely to what I would normally do as an actor, because the whole point of Sarah is that she's an alien, she's isolated, she's completely removed from understanding her situation, and she hasn't had time to do any research herself. She's just gone there, heard some random facts or opinions about where her sister is and gone. So for me to play the role of Sarah, for once, it was expedient for me to do no research. Mm-hmm. So, and luckily because we, as a gift, something that never happens, shot in chronological order as much as we could do, I sort of became assimilated and understood the Japanese culture or their opinions of the place as we went along, and I met Japanese day players and actors that were coming in. So I was completely blank when I walked in.
Well, as you're going and you're learning more throughout the process, what about that place kind of surprised you? What about that place kind of resonated with you or stuck with you to today about how this place exists? Because it is, unless you're really in the know, it's very possible that this is just a place that exists kind of at the end of the world that you would never know anything about. But being exposed to it, I guess, what kind of surprised you about it?
Sure, I mean, I visited the real forest for one day. When we were shooting in Tokyo, I was able to get up for one day. And genuinely, what surprised me about Aokigahara is how beautiful it is. Like, Mount Fuji is a stunning place. There's beautiful countryside, lush green countryside. The birds were singing. It was a blue sky day. I was there. There were families hiking along the hiking trail. It's a very sacred, special place to the Japanese. Yes, it has a negativity to some of its heritage, but it also has a lot of positivity in there. It's just steeped in history of both ends of the spectrum. And I just felt compassion and sadness more than anything, that it still has this hold that people choose it with the intention of going in and not coming out. And then as an actor, that just makes you empathize and think, well, if my brother or sister or someone that I was incredibly close to, this is what I think is so strong about this movie. It's not too implausible to imagine you as an audience member getting that phone call. All of us have someone in our lives who we deeply love, that we would travel half the world if we thought that they were going to hurt themselves, they were in danger, they were upset. And I loved the concept and David S. Goya's premise that the forest isn't necessarily an evil place, it's just that it holds a mirror up to your demons inside. Each of us have regrets, history, stuff we'd rather prefer to bury. But imagine that you go to a location where you are forced to physically confront the manifestations of your fears. So I just thought it was a thinking person's horror movie. I thought, it's really Sarah, as one character says, Sarah does it to herself. And it's just a massive metaphor for mental health, basically, and suppression of trauma.
Well, that's one of the strongest points, I think, of the film, is that it's not so much a horror film as it is witnessing kind of a person's descent into madness.
Yes.
Watching kind of this psychological break happen and kind of the repercussions of how it play out. That, as
100%. I couldn't agree.
I mean,
with
that
you
as an actress takes you into some very dark, deep
it's
places.
Catnip.
So
But
how do you prepare yourself to kind of get into that headspace? Because that can take you down a very a dark rabbit hole. But
I mean, this is what actors live for. I mean, this is why we do the job, to play roles like this. It's Hamlet, it's Lear, it's the disintegration into madness. I mean, honestly, that's like, there's nothing scary about that for an actor. We run headlong into that kind of shit. That's why we're actors. You know, we get a kick out of it because it's cathartic. That is what it is, it's cathartic. And yeah, you carry a bit of the residue with you and you have to shake it off at the end of the job. But else you wouldn't be doing this job. I mean, that's what we love to do, is go to those dark places.
As a fan of Game of Thrones, I have to ask, does it perturb you at all that everyone wants to know about the fate of Jon Snow, but no one really seems to ask too much about where Marjorie Tyrell is right now?
No, that's not true. I've had a lot of people go, hey, what happened to Marge at the end of season 5? She was like, what was it, like Ep 7 or something? She was in a cell and then what happened?
Where is she?
What happened? So, you know, I felt actually, I felt very touched that so many people asked me on the street, like, you just disappeared. I was like, I know, don't worry. You can see her in the cell.
You know, everybody, that's the question. Everybody, I mean, but, and also like being involved in this and kind of trying to protect what's going on, that we're in kind of these uncharted territory. Nobody knows kind of where we're at. Are you one of the people that side with that, just leave it alone, let it unfold?
I don't know.
I
don't read the scripts. I purposefully don't read the other storylines so that I can watch the show as a fan. And it also has the double effect, the beneficial effect that I can't spoil because I have no idea. So I'm waiting for season 6 like you are.
Well, good on you then. Thank you very much.
Nice to meet you.